Hello, I'm Brendan Elrich, and if you haven't seen me before, I write a lot of humor articles and some heartfelt ones, etc., etc. But um, I have a publication called Brandon Elrich is So Gay and Elrich Unraveling. That one's for fiction and poetry, if you like that sort of thing. I'm really trying to build that one up, but because that's something I really love to do. So I hope you check that out. Thanks for joining me today. Uh, s- so a few weeks ago, I did a video where I talked about this cookbook that I found. It was in my great aunt's collection, and it was from this. I think it was like a ladies group back. I don't know how long ago, but they created this cookbook. You can tell it was homemade. It was like a couple rings in it and typed out recipes. But it was the Avondale Bicentennial Cookbook from 1976. And since this is 2026, it is 50 years old this year. So, as I said in my video a few weeks ago, I decided I'd make a bunch of recipes from this cookbook this year to, just I think it's kind of cool just because it's 50 years old. And I've made a couple of things from it so far. Last week, was it last week? Maybe a couple weeks ago, I made a Ritz cracker pie. Wasn't the best, but I had never heard of it. A couple other people had, but I just figured I'd try it out. It wasn't bad, but basically it just turned into a kind of a chewy, sugary dessert. But I it's that's not one that I'm gonna make again, I don't think. At least not one that I'm gonna bring to any potlucks or uh, family dinners or anything like that. Unless, of course, I don't want to be invited back, then it might work well. So today I'm making a cocoa apple cake. I have never heard of this or made it before, so um, it'll be interesting. Obviously, for a cocoa apple cake, you would need apples. So I'm uh, slicing some up right now. I've got, I have some apple bits that I froze and took those out of the freezer to thaw, but I have another apple here that I'm going to cut up for the recipe. And you also need a tube pan. I I don't think I've ever seen anybody make anything in a tube pan before, but it's kind of interesting. I made, for Valentine's Day, I made a cream cheese, strawberry and cream cheese pound cake, actually. And it turned out really well. It was really good. Now, the first time I used it, it was about a year ago or so. I didn't do it on video, but I was really afraid. I just thought, oh, you can see the tube right here, actually. It's heart shaped. It's the only tube I have, the only tube pan I have. So this cake is going to have heart shaped slices in it. But the first time I used it, I was really skeptical about how it would come out. I thought putting a cake in a tube sounds like it would be really hard to get out, but it wasn't at all. I mean, I sprayed the inside of it, of course, with cooking spray. But even then, I thought I was really, I was really thinking I was going to struggle with getting it out. But it slid right out with no problem. I was shocked. So I don't know if we have any bakers in here. Nobody's saying anything yet. So you never know with the chat. Sometimes sometimes my chat is very lively and I can't even keep up with the comments. And then sometimes I get people in here who don't say a single thing. So, but also that may partly have to do with where you're watching it. I know now that Substack has the TV app, it's a little more difficult, I think, on there to comment. But if you would like to comment, please do so. I will respond if I can catch it in between steps in this baking process. Have any of you, if you are bakers in the chat, any of you ever used a tube pan? Let's see. I want 6 equal sides tube instead of heart tube. Well, you're not going to get that this time because all I have is the heart tube. The hexagon is going to have to wait. I don't even know. I don't know if I would ever get a heart or a hexagon shaped bread or a cake tube. Actually, it's called a bread tube because there are some recipes that I found that you can make bread in this tube pan. Haven't tried the bread yet. I've only tried a couple of cakes. They worked well, so I'm assuming the bread would come out well also, but I haven't tried it. I haven't made bread in a long time, actually. That may be something that I should do in one of these future live videos. But for today, I'm making cocoa apple cake in a heart-shaped cake tube, bread tube, whatever you want to call it. Oh, hello, Beth. Let's see. And it has a lock. Oh, I have a tube with bottom part and it has a lock. Oh, a lock. This does not have a lock on it, but it stays on pretty well. The last time I did it, though, I filled it too full and it started rising out the top. It like pushed the top cap of the tube out of the top of the pan, out of the top of the tube, and the cake it was like so when you put it in the oven, you might also want to look at where your oven rack is because when I put mine in, there was just a little bit of room above the tube, between the tube and the top of the oven, and filling it too full, the cake rose up and it was against the top of the oven, like the roof of the oven, if you will. So this time I lowered my oven rack that I'm putting this on, and hopefully that will not happen this time. So right now I'm just chopping up these apples into little bits. You can, I don't know what size you want to do it. I guess it just depends on how big you want the apple bites in your cake. But these, I don't know, they're like maybe a quarter of an inch, something like that. Got a couple people that joined. So I'm making, in case you didn't hear me earlier, I'm making a cocoa apple cake. And it will be, I'll turn this around. It will be in this cake tube. This is from the 1976 Bicentennial Cookbook. I didn't even know they had baking tubes back then. I mean, I don't know if I even knew about it before I found this one. I don't know if I even knew that they made such things. I don't think my mom ever made a cake in a cake tube or a bread tube. She didn't ever make bread that I ever remember. It was just too time consuming, I think. And getting one of those bread makers, I don't know. I just don't think I would want one. It would just, I know they're quite large, quite bulky. Oh, hello, Nero D. And I just wouldn't want to take up that much room on my counter all the time. And where are you going to store it? I mean, I guess you put it down if you have a basement, you put it down in the basement. But just having it out on your counter all the time, I think would be rather, I don't know. I just don't like it taking up all that room. Same thing with an air fryer. I do have an air fryer that someone gave me, and it takes up about as much room as a bread maker. But anyway, all that's besides the point. All right, I got my apple chopped up. Preheat your oven to 325. Alexi says, I bought one to wake up to bread with timer. Oh yeah, that would be nice. I just I don't know. I just don't want it to take up all the room on my counter. I like a lot of counter space, especially when I'm baking and things like that. Like I've got my counter right now is pretty full of all the stuff that's going into this cake. All right, so this takes a lot of butter actually. It's 1 cup of margarine, which is 2 sticks. Let's see if I can get this wrapper off without leaving a bunch of it on the wrapper. All right, I'll just scrape that off right there on that beater. All right, 1 cup of margarine, 3 eggs. Oh, and Beth, you'll recognize this. I painted a couple of eggs with Beth and Soso. Was that just last week? I guess so. And I didn't boil this one. I just took an egg out of the carton and painted it So this is my rabbit. Easter is over, so my rabbit is going into this cake. One, and my little chickie that I painted is going into the dish as well. Oh, got a little piece of eggshell in there. Did you know that one good way to get eggshell, if you crack an egg and you get a little piece of eggshell in your batter, you can take the larger piece of the egg, put it down in there against the little piece, and it will attract to the larger piece. Sounds really odd and even unbelievable, but I learned that from, I think it might have been Rachel Ray, actually. And I tried it and it works. It's so weird. Okay, so that's 2 eggs, and this one is unpainted, but going in there too. 3 eggs, 1 cup of margarine or butter. I'm using unsalted butter. It doesn't specify in the recipe, so I'm just doing what I want with that one. And sugar, let's see. Yeah, eggs, sugar, margarine. The sugar, how much sugar? Forgot. Oh, 2 cups. Where's my cup? I need a cup. All right. What did I say? 2 cups? Yeah, 2 cups sugar. All right. There's 1. And 2. All right. Done with the sugar. I'm going to get that out of the way. So we're going to beat together the eggs, sugar, margarine, and a half a cup of water. Let me double check on that. Half a cup of water. Yes. I'm going to beat those until fluffy. And I'm using a hand mixer because it takes less time. Oh, you should also make sure your butter is softened. Okay. Hello, Emma. All right. Okay. Now the dry ingredients. I'm gonna put this off to the side for a second. And actually, I'll put this off too because I don't think I'm gonna need it again. I'm just gonna use, oh, did I mess up my phone? A little bit. For those of you just joining, I'm making a cocoa apple cake in a cake tube. This one is a heart-shaped cake tube. And if you don't mind, if you could push the heart button, click the heart button if you're watching from your laptop or phone, that would be helpful. And now, dry ingredients. Sift together the flour. How much flour? Let's see. 2.5 cups. Yeah. Bring this a little closer, that'd be easier. 2.5 cups. 1, 2, and half. All right. Done with flour. Get that out of the way. I'm actually planning on possibly meeting a few other Substackers tomorrow, and I'm planning on, if I do end up going, I'm going to bring this with me. So 2.5 cups flour, 2 tablespoons of cocoa, 1 and 2. Okay. Done with the cocoa. Get that out of the way. And let's see, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Oh, what's next? Okay, so this says 1 cup chopped nuts. I don't like nuts in my cake. I like nuts other places, but not in my cake. If I'm eating a soft, like cookie or brownie cake, I want it to be soft. I don't want to chomp down on something hard in the middle of my soft cake. That's just me, but I don't like it. I don't like nuts in my cake, so I'm not putting any in here. Let's see, what else? 1. Oh, I forgot the vanilla. Why? It didn't mention the vanilla. I forgot about that. It's fine. I'll add it to the wet ingredients. 1 tablespoon of vanilla. So I'm going to add that to the egg and sugar mixture. Sometimes these ladies that made up this cookbook, they didn't always make very specific directions. Sometimes they left things, I don't know. I have to figure them out for myself in some cases, but it's fine. Cocoa soda, baking soda. Where are we? How much soda? I don't remember. Oh, things in my way. 1 teaspoon baking soda. Oh, wipe that off. 1 teaspoon soda. And cinnamon. Okay, so this calls for 1 teaspoon of allspice. I don't have any allspice. The allspice comes from the something Troika tree or something like that. I can't remember. It's the seeds from a tree, but it has notes of cinnamon, nutmeg, uh, cloves, and it says a little bit of a hint of pepper. Do you have nutmeg? Yeah. Well, that's what I was just saying. Cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves. Supposedly, it tastes like that combination. So instead of allspice, I am replacing it with those 3 ingredients. It already has a little bit of cinnamon in it, so I might just add. I think I'm just going to add a little sprinkle more of the cinnamon, and then just a partial teaspoon of nutmeg. If I can get it in there, and a partial teaspoon. What the heck is going on with that? Oh, there's a flip top now. What's going on with this? Ah. Oh, this one's unopened. Do I have another opened one? I don't use cloves very often. So, oh yeah, here's one. I grabbed the wrong one. This one's unopened. Or this one's opened. I don't use cloves very often. Oh, hello, Laggy. What is oh, I can't read this. There we go. Baking spices. Yes. I use nutmeg with teriyaki and sour sweet sauce. I liked cookies with M&M's chocolate. Yeah. All right. So, nutmeg, cloves, and cinnamon instead of allspice. And it says it has a hint of pepper. I don't think we need to put a hint of any pepper in there. Just I use nutmeg in my bolognese. Oh yeah. I have heard of putting nutmeg in like a meat dish, meat sauce. All right. So I've got let's see, cocoa, cinnamon, sugar, flour, soda, allspice. Okay. Got all the dry ingredients. So you can either sift the dry ingredients. You really don't need to. If you use a wire whisk, put all the dry ingredients in a bowl and use a wire whisk, it naturally sifts out all of the lumps. So you don't need to get like a sifter and go through all that process. It's a lot easier, I think, just to use the whisk to break it all up. So that's my little hack, my at least second hack for today. I think I've given 2 or 3 actually little tips. I should be charging for this. This video should be under a paywall or something, right? Okay. We're adding this to the creamed mixture. I need a spatula. Stir that vanilla in there. All right. That's good. Let's see. It's traditional way. Oh, the nutmeg. Okay. Does it work? Nutmeg and bolognese. Well, I assume it does because if it's a part of the traditional bolognese, I would think that it would work. Laggy, do you do much baking, or do you do mostly like savory kind of cooking? Just curious. Laggy, Ginger Cook, and Sturge and I were all on a video last night. I haven't published it. I don't know if I even should, but I'm gonna cut some of it out, I think. Like that beginning part. Ugh, ridiculous. I don't know what was going on with all that, but there are always technical difficulties. And even when you test things out and think they're going to work, but I have seen a lot of people doing that, using that restream. And it seems like there's always some technical difficulties. But if Substack would just allow 4 people on a video, that would be helpful. I think from what I heard that they were doing that with like you had to be, I don't know, you had to have so many paid subscribers or something like that. Oh, hello, Margaret. I'm making a cocoa apple cake. All right, this is pretty much all mixed together. So, obviously, with the cocoa apple cake, we're going to need to add apples. So, it also takes some chocolate bits. Well, let's do the apples first. 2 cups finely chopped apples. I mean, I didn't really chop them finely, but that's your preference. You can do whatever you want, right? But I'll chop them up a little more. Just you probably don't want huge chunks in the cake, but all right, that's probably good enough. All right, all right, all right. I said that was good enough, and I kept going. So maybe it wasn't quite good enough. Um, That's looks like it's more than 1 cup, but I've got some more. When apples were in season, I had a ton of apples, and I made several recipes using apples, but I just couldn't use them all. So I chopped some up and froze them. If you were wanting them to be like fresh and crispy, don't freeze them because they after you thaw them, they're just kind of mushy. But if you're going to be putting them in a pie or cake, it's not going to matter because you're going to be cooking them. They're going to soften anyway. So I'm going to chop these up just a little more. I just chopped them into chunks when I first froze them, but chop them up just a little bit more. Get them a little bit smaller to put in there. This recipe also takes it says chocolate bits. I don't know why I didn't just say chocolate chips, but I'm using some dark chocolate in this one. There's 1 cup. And I'm just gonna, this looks like about a cup, so I'm just gonna scoop them in there. And just fold the apple bits, the apple pieces in there. And as I said, I'm using dark chocolate morsels. Now let's try not to make these go everywhere. A 1/2 cup of chocolate bits. Oh, these are kind of large chips, actually. Larger than regular chocolate chips. Yeah, interesting. All right. So 1/2 cup. I'm using dark chocolate because this does have a lot of sugar in it and also has the apples, which will provide some sweetness. So I think the dark chocolate should be fine. And of course, if you prefer dark chocolate, then that'll be good for you too. All right. And supposedly, dark chocolate's supposedly better for you anyway. It's the antioxidants or something, right? Something like that. All right. I need a measuring cup to kind of scoop it. All right. So we're going to be putting this into a cake tube. So first, if you have your cake tube, make sure you spray the lids, both lids go on each end. And the inside. Yeah, it looks like I covered it. This is a heart-shaped cake tube. Flavonoids, like tea. Oh, flavonoids. Okay. Dark chocolate with flavonoids. All right. And then we're going to take a piece of wax paper, a square of like, I don't know, it's like 10 inches or something like that. I'll fold it up into a square and try to arrange this so you can see it. And I'm going to put that on the bottom lid and fit it onto the bottom. All right, there we go. Because if you don't do that, it will leak out the bottom. I'll trim a little bit of this off. All right. Partly because this is a heart-shaped tube, but a round lid. So obviously there are going to be some gaps. But I did this, the last time I did this, it did not leak out the bottom. So this works. And when you're filling your tube, do not fill it to the top. Actually, I think I filled it like 2/3 full last time, and even that was too much. So I'm going just halfway up. Let's see, this is going to be a lovely mess. Try to get it down in the tube without making a huge mess. Working well so far. You can try to spoon it in there, but this seems to be working well. And it makes enough batter that I will definitely have more than one tube will hold. You don't have to put it in a tube, but this recipe actually specified making it in a cake tube. So that's what I decided to do. And I think it's kind of cool when you slice it into individual parts. I better watch out. Let's see. That's that about half. I'm gonna put just a little more and probably regret it. Well, the last time I did this, I filled it 2/3 full, and it rose out the top. It pushed the top cap off of the cake pan, and it was so close to the top of my oven, it hit the top of my oven. So I'm not putting as much in it this time. You put the cap on. And just to be sure, I put it on top of a cookie sheet, just in case, you didn't get it quite sealed at the bottom. So if it does start to come out, you don't want it all over your oven. So definitely put it on a sheet pan before you put it in your oven. And you put it vertically. Do not lay it on its side, because it probably will go everywhere. So here we go. That's all we got. Spoon it into the 10-inch tube pan. So this one is actually not, this is a little less than 10 inches. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to make another one with the batter I have left over. I'll put it in either another tube pan, or I might just put it in a 9-inch round pan, because it'll bake either way. But it will not take as long in the round pan. So this one is going to bake at 325 for 60 to 70 minutes. But do not bake it that long for the round pan. I'd probably even check it after 35, 40 minutes if you're doing the just a regular pan. So this is going in the oven, and I'm not going to sit around on video, wait for an hour until it's done. I might go live again when I take it out and show you how it slides out and everything. Or I could record a video and just add it when I publish this one. I don't know yet. I'll think about it. But I've got another live video later today, so we'll see. Anyway, thanks for joining. Glad you came in, and I hope this was entertaining at least, or some educational content. If you are not subscribed to me, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe. I do a lot on Substack. I write 2 articles a week on one publication, 2 articles a week on my other publication, my fiction and poetry one. I do a Tuesdays, every Tuesday I do a live with Sturge. I think I'm going to start doing a regular, I do about 1 baking video a week, but I think I'm going to try to do every Friday now, just to keep it consistent. Audio podcast every week. I interview other people, other Substackers. I do all kinds of different things for whatever you like. So I would really appreciate a paid subscription, because this takes a lot of time, and I'm really trying to build up the publication and use it as a business. So right now, most of it's free on my main publication. My fiction and poetry, a lot of that is behind a paywall in lieu of publishing a book. So there you go. That's my pitch. Thanks for coming in. You might see me again later when I take this out. Otherwise, you'll see it, the results, when I post this video, and I'll include the recipe in that post as well, in case you want to try it. Thanks a lot. See you later. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. Bye-bye.